Okay, I'd like to talk to you today about how to count stitches and rows to measure a gauge swatch. So we've got a gauge swatch here, and I would like to show you how to count the number of stitches in this section of stockinette from the edge of this first stitch here, which looks like a V, to the edge of this last stitch in stockinette here, looks like a V. We're not going to be counting the garter stitch borders. So here's how you would proceed to count the number of stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So you can see that we've got 24 stitches from this edge to this edge here. Now we want to find out how many stitches are in 1 inch. So we're going to take our ruler and measure across this section, lining up the 0 and over here. And we can see that that stockinette stitch section is 7 1/4 inches. So to find out the number of stitches in 1 inch, we're going to take our counted number of stitches, which is 24 stitches, and we're going to divide it by the amount of inches we have in that section, which is 7.25, 7 1/4. And we divide that and we get 3.31 stitches in 1 inch. Now most patterns will express the stitch gauge in 4-inch increments. So I'm going to take the number of stitches in 1 inch times 4, and I get 13.24 stitches in 4 inches. We can't measure 1/4 of a stitch, so we're going to round that 4 inches to the nearest whole number of stitches, and we get 13 stitches in 4 inches. Next, I'd like to show you how to count rows in your gauge swatch. So here is the bottommost knit stitch in this stockinette stitch gauge. You can see that it's looks like a V. And here is the topmost knit stitch in this gauge swatch. So we're going to count the number of rows, in other words, the number of V's that we see in this stockinette stitch portion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So we've got 32 rows in this stockinette section of knitting. I want to find out how many rows is in 1 inch worth of knitting. So I'm going to again take my ruler. I'm going to line it up with that bottom stitch and measure to the top section of the stockinette. And you can see I've got 6 1/2 inches for this length. So we take our number of rows, which is 32 rows. We divide it by the number of inches we got, 6.5 inches, and we come up with 4.92 rows in 1 inch worth of knitting. Usually the pattern is expressed in 4 inches, so we take that times 4. 4.92 times 4 equals 19.69 rows of knitting in 4 inches. We round that to the nearest whole number, and we get, rounding up the 6.9 to the nearest whole number, 20 rows in 4 inches. So that's how you measure your gauge swatch. Make sure you make a big enough gauge swatch so you can really measure it and get an accurate number. Okay? Have fun. Don't be afraid to make a gauge swatch. Okay.